Now we're good.
Hello and welcome to our actual play of Curse of Strahd as presented by For the Love of Crits. I'm level 1 Dungeon Master Hunter Ayu, and I thank you again for joining us as we follow our Lost Clerics of Barovia deeper into the mist. Curse of Strahd, created by Wizards of the Coast, is known for its dark themes and mature content. Therefore, viewer discretion is advised due to adult language and themes. Please keep the chat civil and avoid spoilers for this and any other Wizards of the Coast adventure. We're going to go through a recap to catch us up with our cluster of clerics, and please, for the love of crits, like and subscribe.
Picks up a dirty shovel. Graves, yes. Graves picks up a dirty shovel and makes his way outside the church. Well, can't say I'm surprised that this town is odd. And to be honest, theft is not really a surprise anywhere. Yet to only take 2 healing potions when we have plenty of valuable things, that is strange. Graves stops at a sight of an undug grave next to the others that are ready to go, gives a sigh, and plunges the shovel into the dirt. Tavio, the bard from Waterdeep. He certainly felt like someone from outside the mists, but he's been here for 3 months. And there was a Temu a few months before, and now our group. I know that we technically came of our own volition, but at the behest of Madame Eva, who seems to have not truly needed us? So, what keeps drawing people here? Is Strahd simply that bored, or is it something else? Regardless, that orphanage was not a place I could quite wrap my head around. Both a place of sorrow for these children with no family, but also the first place where I heard true laughter since arriving in this cursed valley. Graves pauses and looks into the mirror given to him by Father Petrovus. Of course, I don't know what it's like to be a child. Whether I ever was one, or have forgotten, I'm unsure. Something Onyx and I have in common, I suppose. However, Milovaj seemed to take good care of the younger children. Bronchitis, or something similar, some similar ailment, precisely from the work we are doing. He should be fine in time. It's a shame that we cannot bring him comfort with what happened with that boy Hans. But this is a cruel valley. I hope that he spends the coin I gave him wisely. I believe he has good intentions, but I suspect he may not have the wisdom of how to use it properly. He proved his kindness and his sorrow when he shared that he had searched our belongings for the pocket knife. Headmistress fuels my concerns that he intends well, but his spending, well, he spends foolishly, nonetheless. Too trusting, as she said. What is better? To be on guard and cold? Or to open and happy, yet vulnerable? To share the truth, or to hide it? Graves leans against double, taking a break as he goes deep into thought. Just this day, these questions have swirled in my mind. Actions and revelations have pulled me in 2 opposite directions. I know that there's a darkness that lies within me. It reared itself in the burgomaster's attic when we dealt with the boy. I defended the actions we took. I believed my own defense, yet I also feel the need to be kind, as I forgave Milovosh and shared point with him, truly believing him and wanting to do what I can to help others. But these are competing directions. So often cannot mix. In the past, my neutrality has seen me make purely rational decisions, or decisions purely on destroying undead abominations. But I must feel that I'm aside. Graves looks down, and a look of surprise crosses his face as he realizes that he has left his lantern in the church. It was not Pharasma that he had been speaking to time, and in his hand he held that strange, ornate key.
Ooh.
With Graves realizing this revelation that he is now speaking to another entity entirely and taking his strength in there, we're going to kind of move forward through the evening. The uh, the characters themselves are going through their typical evening rituals. Herbert, exhausted, is probably very close to collapsing, let alone being able to go through his normal routine. Herbert, are you attempting to do anything before you turn in for the evening?
I'll press to digitate my clothes and take off my armor and all that, and just head to bed. Just
No,
taking the
that's
short route.
understandable. Let's see.
Pull Graves back onto the map. I was trying to move him around to the graveyard, and he just went way off into the middle of nowhere.
Bye now.
Decided to go back to the town of Barovia, I guess.
Are we sleeping in this room that I'm standing near, by the way?
Yes.
That's where we were keeping our stuff, so I assume.
Let's see. There we go. So if no one has anything that they'd like to do in the downtime, obviously we did have the one piece of insight gathered by Konareth before our end of last session. He had been leafing through the tome written by Strahd, and it was here that he found the piece of information regarding this mysterious name that Strahd has mentioned before, Tatiana, as well as alluding to dark powers. Do you share this information with the rest of the party, Conera?
I imagine I'd share it in the morning.
In the morning? Okay. So, without further ado, unless anyone is doing anything, I'm going to fast forward us through to the morning.
Yeah.
You guys
Graves
have
was
had.
like,
Go ahead.
Graves investigate the graveyard as he was doing his digging to see if he has find like any signs or anything for like the grave robbing, but like that was
Roll
it.
me an investigation check.
Investigation. What's my bonus? Ooh, that's one of my better bonuses. $19 plus 5, 24.
Jeez. Okay, so as you are looking through, you're searching for signs of grave robbing.
Yeah.
You do see that there is some stuff that has been dug up recently. Obviously, isn't animals. For the amount that's being dug up, it's being spread out, but it's not a grave digger because it's much more tunneling and going deep. Kind of looks like they're looking for something specific. You with that high of a roll, you would notice that some of the caskets have been broken open. It appears that jewelry was the focus of what was being taken, whether it be rings or necklaces. That everywhere looks like it was somewhere where someone would wear jewelry. For that, during your investigation, though, you find it interesting that as you're digging, you don't see any of the telltale signs of different things that would have caused Milavage's illness. So you aren't entirely sure, but from what you knew of the medicine, you're like, this looked like a bronchitis or some type of fungal infection. But now you're starting to have some second guesses that you aren't exactly sure what it is because you aren't seeing the evidence here that this would have caused his infection.
Interesting. Graves would definitely note down somewhere like where the different points in the graveyard are, what he thinks are missing, what like the names of the gravestones, just like so he has a paper trail so he can easily find stuff again.
That's fair. And remember that for future, because if you're ever trying to remember like a family line, I'll give you advantage points for history if it's applicable.
Nice.
For
Nice.
like local history. Also, I forgot to say, Graves and Onyx, can you both roll me a d6 for luck points? Graves for doing the intro, and then before we had started, Onyx for the in-depth notes you've been keeping. It really makes my life as a DM a lot easier, so I appreciate that. I'm sure the other ones have been. I'm sure other people have been keeping notes as well.
It just
But
came up.
yeah, it just happened to come up. So,
second time in a row, I've rolled a 1 for luck points.
Ooh.
Oh, no.
Yeah. Also, whenever you
the
manage
next
the
time I have
there,
you
Reno,
roll luck, the next time I have you roll luck points, I'll let you roll at advantage for the luck points.
the times you
that
can
is
pull
pretty
my
insane.
token back onto the map. You gotta. When I tried to move into the cemetery, got thrown into the mist.
There we go.
Perfect.
You're back in the cathedral.
Thank you.
Okay, so with that being said, we're going to fast forward to tomorrow morning, where before the light is even coming through, I would say before sunrise, but without being able to see the sun, it's really difficult to be able to tell when it's actually rising and when it's just getting light out. But before the light in the sky has come, you hear the movement of people outside in the church, and it's as if they're getting ready for the day. Much earlier than usual. No one's disturbing you at this time within the your separate room. I'm not sure, Alex. What are the rules regarding exhaustion and resting?
You recover 1 level of exhaustion per long rest, I believe.
Okay.
Or maybe all of them, I can't remember.
I feel like the 1 level of exhaustion is that strikes a chord in my memory.
Yeah. Same.
Yeah.
So okay, that's fine. And you only had 1 level of exhaustion currently.
Yes. So I feel much better today.
Okay. So you no longer have all the disadvantage on everything.
Yeah.
So,
I assume that means long rest for everybody.
yes, everyone benefits from a long rest.
Excellent.
You guys had a very emotional day the day before. Having everything happening with Victor, you had the lunch with Baron Valakovich as well as Vasily von Holtz, and really just a lot had happened. Now, Onyx, before you open the door to exit out, I am going to give the opportunity to have the conversation regarding the what was found in the tome. As Conner said, he probably would mention it in the morning. Would you mention it before everyone left, or would you kind of wait for a time?
I'd mention it before everyone leaves.
Okay. So, Connerith will just read what was in the Tome of Strahd that he had discovered. I do have these in our Tome of Strahd handouts on our Discord, but I will read it again for the sake of our stream as well as for our cleric's benefit. It was written in Strahd's hand, and it just says, "The dark powers have cursed me. Each time I am within reach of Tatiana, she is met with tragedy. I must keep her safe this time, no matter what it takes. Perhaps I may yet unravel the black threads of fate."
It's strange. I believed Strahd to be the source of the dark powers that plague this land, but it appears that there is something greater than him.
It almost sounds like he is a victim of it. It doesn't the way he worded it doesn't sound like he chose it, at least.
I don't think. Well, I suppose maybe there are some who would choose to take on dark powers, but
I mean, you remember Lady Durst?
yes.
I would still assume that his actions are his own. He's not to be
Yes, I would
forgiven
assume
for
so.
that.
But you know, if I were evil, wouldn't I want to make I would want to make everyone around me happy and just have a fine time, because like I want people to be my friend, right? Like if you had ultimate control over your environment, wouldn't you want everyone to sort of be chill, unless I guess
But
unless you're just into war and fighting and whatnot.
there are people, but it almost seems as though he doesn't necessarily have quite as much control as people are led to believe.
Hmm.
This also, isn't that not the name that he called Irina? This book is sort of been written long before her.
Perhaps
My guess, at least. It looks very old.
perhaps like an ancestor or something of the like?
Sense.
Or someone who just happens to resemble this person?
It
I
could
mean,
be.
if no one believe, then I I just I read a book on sort of like how genealogy and populations sort of work, like in like when you mixed genes within a small population. Sorry, genes are what makes up you. It becomes very. There can be defects, I suppose. That's what I'm trying to say. But
I also went to the bookstore and asked them about genealogy. And the guy said Tatiana was a name around the time the Dursts were killed. So it was many years ago. Like 800 years ago. And it
Well,
has like dark tidings.
It's curious the way that he wrote this. Each time am within reach of Tatiana, she is met with tragedy. I must keep her safe this time. The implication is that she wasn't safe. Either
there were
she died or was
in
met
this
some kind
time,
of terrible fate. But
so it repeats.
yes, the way he speaks, it's as though this is. I mean, he is immortal, so
Yeah.
he would encounter this time and time again.
Does then, considering that maybe he's viewed people who look the same or from a family line, because he called Irina, is he perhaps meeting just this one woman, Tatiana, or is perhaps he identified multiple people who looked like her, or is her descendants, and anytime he's around them, they are killed? Also, partially why, if that's the case, we should keep Irina away from him, which was already the plan.
Well,
I mean,
the shopkeeper also said that around her was a lot of pain and suffering and a great tragedy.
like losing your whole family when you're very young and being adopted by the Baron of Barovia.
Graves will peek out the door to make sure there's no one right there.
Oh, there would not be. You hear that people are prepping, like preparing for the day. You would hear the voice of Father Petrovich at his altar, but he is not.
Okay. All right, Graves will be like, "Okay, it's fine. And speak quietly." If you recall, Tatiana dyes her hair, and she has red hair, which people in Barovia, Irina, what did I say?
Tatiana.
Oh yeah, sorry, Irina, dyes her hair, says red hair, and people here believe that to be a sign of misfortune or a ill fate.
And the bookkeeper said Tatiana had red hair.
Perhaps Strahd identifies any woman with red hair as Tatiana. It doesn't seem to be a dominant trait.
Out of character, are there any religions in D&D that believe in reincarnation?
A lot of them, I think.
I would
Probably.
imagine that'd be something in there.
Yeah.
Would it not be possible to entertain the idea that this Tatiana could be a soul that is trapped in Barovia much more so than any of the other people, but a soul that's forced to relive itself in this land?
That could make sense. The fact that we have seen that souls don't seem to be able to travel to the boneyard from here. They seem to be stuck here. So I don't see why not. I can't say for sure, but I mean, it makes sense at least.
So what if there were like a finite amount of souls within this place, but maybe there's more bodies than souls? Like a sort of soul cycle ecosystem. Oh, this is very
That could
fascinating.
explain why Strahd identifies Tatiana repeatedly, possibly. Do you remember, Onyx, you had spoken in Barovia to that one barkeep who didn't seem to be all there.
He only stared in one direction, and he was not helpful at all.
I think that what's his name? Irina's brother said something about there being some people like that, and they had some sort of term. Could that be what we're seeing? What we are proposing?
Certainly
then-
sounds like it to me.
Then wouldn't there be stories of people randomly snapping too after a lifelong of no soul?
Maybe you only get your soul when you're born. And they just maybe there's like a reservoir somewhere, like in the graveyard. They just sort of hang out, and then when there's a body available, they can just and they forget who they were. Is that how reincarnation
Yeah,
works?
and I mean, there wouldn't be anything then to stop people from procreating past the number of souls if there were only so many. That could also possibly answer the question of why so many people like ourselves and Victavia and others keep coming to add to the soul.
Are we food?
Are we just food for the mist to just have more souls?
I don't like that, but it does make a certain amount of sense.
Yeah.
Anyway, if at the very least we've proven beyond a shadow of a doubt that she is very, very important to Strahd.
Very.
I mean,
Yes,
it
perhaps more
seemed
so than
implied by him tailing us and all of that, but given this evidence of her holding such significance to him even such a long time ago.
You think that we might be able to unlock memories from past lives if it is reincarnation?
I wouldn't begin to know how to do that, but maybe.
Well, this might be a little bit different because I don't really think I've been reincarnated, but have forgotten things. But there have been times where I have recalled little snippets and such, often when I needed them, like in the Just Manor, when I needed to try to remember I was trying to fall. I was falling and I was trying to catch myself, and then I remembered learning how to fall off a horse. Or I remembered when we arrived in Valaki, I remembered certain streets. Whether those are my own memories from before I had amnesia, or perhaps there's something to say that you can't reincarnate outside of Barovia as well. So perhaps certain triggers of similar events could bring back memories. That being said, I have tried very often and very hard to remember, and it doesn't happen that much.
Oh well.
You hear a knock at the door.
No.
Ah!
A very slight one.
I'm changing!
And it's Father Petrovich. He's like, the light is coming soon. It would probably be best you prepare for the festival.
I'll open the door a little bit. What do we need to do to prepare for the festival?
Just be dressed and meet in the town square.
Well, that's easy enough.
So
So
we don't have to be
the-
chipper? Don't have
Onyx,
to
get
be
your pants on.
I mean, they don't come off.
The burgomaster has deemed that the festival of the blazing sun is to begin at sunrise.
Oh shit,
For
we are
today.
probably running late then.
Oh, it's still and at this point it's still dark out. He's like, I think you probably have at least half an hour. If you leave after me, please leave the doors of the church open. And I'll see you there.
How late does this run?
He shrugs his shoulders and he's like, let's hope it's a shorter one. But if I know my brother-in-law, we'll probably be back around supper time. Don't worry, there's plenty of food and games. It's not all dreary. But it's not all dreary. And he just walks away out the front of the church.
Hold on! I got one more question!
Yes, Onyx.
I know we need to be there, but what happens if we're not in town? Can we be excused if we are not in the town?
If the guards let you out, maybe. But typically, and that's why I asked you to keep the church doors open. The guards will search the entire town because attendance is mandatory. And those that are caught trying to avoid the festivities are typically locked in the stocks for a day or two.
Oh,
Wow.
well, we better get going.
So I would highly recommend not trying to leave. As the guards would probably stop you, and if you put up too much of a fuss, they would likely try to put you in the stocks.
I thought this is supposed to be a cheery thing. It can't be cheery if people are forced to go somewhere.
He shrugs and he's like, is there anything else?
No, thank you.
He blows out like candles and stuff like that, and he heads out.
I was just thinking that maybe we can bypass the festival by going to the wine shop finally. But doesn't sound like it, guys.
Oh yeah, we've got to go
Okay.
check on the winery immediately.
No.
We've been much
Anyone
too
else have
delayed.
anything?
First thing in the
Are you
morning.
guys all prepared to go then? Sorry.
I mean,
I
we don't
suppose,
have
yeah.
any
Yeah.
choice in the matter.
If we're to understand this town, this is probably an important
Oh, yeah,
piece of
true.
information for us to gain anyway.
That is very true.
That's true.
I
Let's
don't
go
like
then.
it, but that is true.
We're just all here like, fuck this festival. Such a drag.
Once you guys get to the actual festival, we'll be able to give you guys each your individual tokens for it.
Is that why there's 2 cubes?
Wait, what?
There's been 2 cubes.
The heck?
We're multiplying.
Now kiss.
Can we stack on top?
Okay,
Mwah.
the one is not
Mwah,
unique,
mwah,
so
mwah, mwah, mwah.
there.
Aw. You ate him!
Into one big mega cube. Okay, so town square. As you exit out, let's see.
Yeah, more.
We're stuck in the ground.
Okay.
Oh, that's falling over.
Okay. The festival of the blazing sun begins at sunrise on the third day that you have arrived in town. It's exactly 1 week after the Wolfhead's Jamboree. That morning, you see all the townsfolk are shepherded, though few need to be led, by the town guard into the town square for a day of light and liveliness. This festival has been prepared specifically by Baron Volakovich as something to grow the hope and joy of its citizens. Okay, I'm going to bring you guys right into the thick of things. Actually, I'm just going to switch you guys to your individual tokens.
We're not giving you a pay raise, but here's a
Yes,
pizza
flop is on
party.
there.
That's the vibe I get.
2 questions.
What do you mean, pay you the
Do you
overtime
have-
that you work?
Do you have Pidlick with you?
Of course.
Okay, and second question. Graves, did you bring your lantern?
Yeah, they'd be on his belt. He would have reattached it to his belt this morning.
Okay. So you guys arrive in the town square, and given the new information that you've gathered about these souls and the conversation that you've had, this is the largest gathering of people that you've seen since you've entered the Valley of Barovia. You aren't entirely sure at first if the grogginess of those individuals is just because of the hour of the day that they are have had to be awake, or if now you're starting to notice that more and more people are similar to that tavern keep that you met in the village of Barovia. With your passive insights, you guys would be able to tell pretty easily, like, that person looks a bit off compared to this person. Whereas a normal individual will have things that are more individualized about themselves. Certain people seem to be just existing rather than living in this village. Can one of you roll a intelligence check for me? And we'll let you do it at advantage if everyone's helping you, whoever's highest intelligence.
Go smart guy Herbert.
Let me see. Maybe I can try to use the D&B Beyond thing to do this. Is this just a flat intelligence check, or this?
Yes. If
investigation,
you investigation, if you're proficient in, you can use an investigation roll. Whatever you would use for like facts and figuring and statistics, that type of thing.
Oh man.
Arcana. I mean, something.
I got an 11 at advantage.
At advantage? Okay.
Yes.
You look around the crowd, and you think that a conservative estimate would be that 1 in 10 people have souls in this crowd.
1 in 10 have?
Like, do you have it?
Yes.
Wow.
You've
So
never
most people-
seen this amount of people in a group. And in fact, most of the people that you would say, hey, that looks like the tavern keep, that they are staring straight ahead, they don't have
They're the
any
they're the
joy.
majority.
Wow.
You see them, and you believe that you just haven't seen them because they never really leave their homes, or they mostly just
No.
go the point A to point B.
Valaki seems like a place where people would like have kids more often than Barovia as well. So
Cities.
if extra people are going to be born, this is the place where it's going to happen. It's a lot of people. You said 1 in 10 though. It's like, oh yeah, 1 in 10. 1 in 10 have souls.
Let me
What?
double check that,
Nine
because I
out of
want to make
10?
sure that I'm reading that right.
9 out of 10 people are mindless drones.
Okay, yeah. Only about 1 in
Uh.
every 10 have souls, is what the book says. So,
Wow.
yes.
So we are right on
That
the
also
money
means
with
they
the
got it.
souls.
Yeah. It's like, oh man.
Fuck.
Yeah, as Herbert is very unsettled by this information. And he of course shares it with everybody else, and he's like, this is a problem.
Yeah, we just look right next to us, and there's a guy endlessly wiping cups right next to graves.
That would actually be Erwin Martikov. You have met him previously.
Okay.
And he would nod at
Okay.
you as you come in, and you actually see a few other people around him as well. You would anticipate that they are his relatives.
We knew he had a family.
Yes, so
Okay.
let's see.
Retrospect, trying to think back, question that as well. At the orphanage, there was a bunch of kids. If we think back, did all of those kids seem to have souls from what we could tell of them? Or how
They did
many-
not. Some were joyful and playing and running around. Other ones just kind of were going through the motions. It's one of those things you didn't really notice it when you were going through because everything's
thought they
just
were
been
just
so
like-
depressed.
Yeah, we just expected they were tired or shy or something, but now thinking back, shit. Fuck. Yep.
There we go.
Yep.
So, that being said, you guys have kind of learned this startling revelation for the first time seeing such a large crowd.
There's a guy with a Strahd puppet. Oh, it's Blinsky.
That's Blinsky. Yes.
Blinsky.
Wait, I must have...
That is
Not surprised anymore.
Oh my.
I wasn't even
No, I'm
in
like,
the
okay,
town square.
yeah.
I was still at the gelatin cube.
I saw that he said the name and I saw it and I was like, oh yeah. Now.
okay. So,
Or to Italy derail.
are there any people in particular that you'd see that you'd be like, oh, I want to go talk to them during the festival? This is pretty laissez-faire in the beginning, that there's a number of different events going on. None of the events you would be like, oh, I would come to this festival again, as throughout the morning, townsfolk are kind of made to endure a program of poorly prepared musical numbers, enforced decoration appreciation, lengthy sessions of prayer, off-key songs, and at one point, a 2-hour speech on security and obedience by Baron Volakovich.
Oh.
2 hours.
We're reading through the itinerary.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm fine if there's a that makes sense to me that there'd be like an itinerary. It's like what is planned for today, like. And the thing is, when you're reading through it, there's like not a second that isn't like accounted for. There's always something going on. You would see later on, it says the burning of the blazing sun is around 3 in the afternoon, and you can tell that's kind of the climax of this festival.
Is there anybody that we see that we assume has a soul that's kind of standing off, like not trying to get involved here because they have to, but trying to stay like just out of everything?
Yes. Hold on.
There's one person who he assumes has a soul that he wants to find at some point.
Okay, let me... Just trying to remember the name of the individual. Actually, your notes may have it. If you have it, the woman that was in St. Andrew's Church, whose son had been...
Mrs. Lukovic?
Yeah.
Yes,
Yeah.
Lukovic.
As the son Udo that was arrested?
Yes, Udo, yeah. So Wilhelmina Rikalova. There we go. And her son Udo Lukovic. So she is right over here.
Hang on. Okay.
No, yes, I recognize the token.
And she is there, but definitely not participating. She's like kind of trying to act around, but she looks very distraught. She's kind of looking down. As you walk up, she's going to look at you. She's like, Mr. Onyx, have you seen my son? And she's kind of whispering conspiratorially, as if she doesn't want other people to overhear.
I have not been able to gain access yet.
She kind of nods sadly, and she's like, I was afraid as much. No one has heard anything about him. And the guards are of no use.
Now that we're seeing so many people here, there's quite a few here that don't seem themselves.
Well, I don't know what you mean.
And I point to probably somebody right next to us. And then I'd be like, take this individual. They're going through
She looks over, and she's like, yes, that is Andresh.
They're going through the motions, but they're not enjoying it. They're not
You are
living.
talking about the shells.
The
have
what?
other names for them. You are not from Barovia. Do I remember that correctly?
That is correct.
I don't really know much about them. I was fortunate that my son was not one, and nor was I. But they just seem to be here. And she kind of points at the ground, but not here, and she points at her chest.
And they're born that way?
Yes. I mean, it's interesting that the sound of a child's cry is good in Barovia, for it means that they are not one.
It's just nobody's been able to
I
figure
remember
out
when
why.
Udo cried for the first time. I was so happy.
I can imagine. And there's no rhyme or reason, it's just random?
I do not know. It's just how it is. I mean, I've known women like me who have had children that are shells. And I've even known women that are shells that have had children like me. It's rare, but I have even seen families where all but one are a shell, or families where all of them are. It's just the way it is. I never really thought about it.
And it's not based on the time of year or some other
No, the
fact?
moons do not affect. I don't think.
Yeah, they're not Khajiit.
Well, I wasn't sure if it was like after one of the main festivals or the thing that Father Petrovich does.
No.
Hmm.
I'm sorry I can't be more help. I've never
No, it's fine.
thought about it.
It was just startling to us that are not familiar with it. And it was just we were taken aback.
Perhaps the elves may be of help.
Oh,
The elves that live outside Valaki. They're much older than everyone else here. Maybe they have seen trends that I have not.
well, I really appreciate your time. I will let you get back to the festivities, if you can call them festivities. And I kind of wink and
She
back.
kind of touches your arm. She's like, "Bless you, and thank you for looking for my son."
Of course. As I walk back, I get back to the group. We have 8 tasks.
Actually,
Yeah, I was gonna say we forgot.
Did you add Madame Eva's
No,
to
none
that?
of that stuff.
Okay.
Wait, did Madam even tell us to do anything other than just like general, like, here's your fortunes, beat Strahd?
She
Go-
said, "Here's your fortunes," and then she had the whole like
Go to
5 cards.
Right, go to the
Yeah.
den
We found
overlooking the lake.
The
there's
wolves.
a sword or a weapon of daylight or something.
There's the room that we already at.
Yep.
The wizard and one other person.
Yeah, the one thing that she would have mentioned. Let's see. She would have mentioned another person to be able to help would be Janovic, which you would instantly recognize as the book owner, as he had done
Yes.
genealogies and stuff like that.
Yeah. Graves does have one thing he wants to do, but I'll see if Alex or Cole wants to do anything first because I already did a little bit earlier.
As far as people that you would recognize, you see that quite a few of the store owners have set up temporary shops around as if they're trying to draw in as much business as they can. They seem to be the only people that seem to be happy about everything that's going on. They get a once a week where everyone is going by and seeing their wares. So
good for business.
You see that surrounding the area, kind of at the exits of the main town square, there are 2 guards posted at every single major exit.
And we got Isaac over here,
who seems to be watching over the guard and kind of keeping an eye out for any dissent among people here. You do see that Rictavio is doing a puppet show for some of the kids from the orphanage as well as some of the non-orphans around town. You also see that Blinsky has been revealing some of his newest creations to the delight of many of the children. And he is selling quite a few of them to the children. Many do have similar looks to Pidalic. And you have had some children point at Pidalic hanging onto the back of Onyx. I'm assuming that's where Pidalic is kind of hanging on your back.
Yes. Alright, I'm writing down Madame Eva's stuff since I forgot to do that.
Oh, no worries. And I had shared a handout at one point that was a breakdown of all of those.
Yep, I have it on my phone and currently transcribing it over to my notes.
Into the active quests.
Yes.
Table.
Should we make like an active quest thing in the Discord to just be like...
Probably be a good idea.
Honestly, that would be a good idea, even if it's just for me to be able to remember. Like, hey, this is things that they've been seeded and they've been looking at.
One of my players in my 3-year long campaign has kept one. He didn't for the last little bit, but it's 3 years worth. but I could possibly see if he has the template for it too, because he is a big spreadsheet guy. It's really good.
Yeah, that'd be awesome. I'd love to look at it.
I'm sorry, I interrupted you, Cole.
I was just gonna say it'd be an opportunity too for anyone that's watching to be like, "Hey guys, you wanna like go do this one or something that like we've forgotten that people are really interested in?" That could just
For
kind of
sure.
like steer us in a direction. That'd be fun.
Yeah, as long as there's no spoilers, I'm cool with that.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
but like I know there's a few spoilers out there that I've told my players specifically do not Google anything because Curse of Strahd is so popular that you Google one thing and it's like right at the top for spoilers on there.
Strahd dies at the end.
All I did was check Rule 34
What?
for Octavio. It's fine.
Oh man. So
oh boy.
Herbert wants to talk to Blinksy.
To Blinsky? Okay, yes. Let me pull that up. Okay. There we go. Okay, so you are able to find Blinsky very easily. He's making a very big show of it. He is giving his telltale sign that it's no fun, it's no Blinsky. So, what are you looking at asking him? He's going to see you and be like,
Herbert.
Herbert, yes. Would you like to buy one of my newest creations?
Well, what's your masterpiece right now?
Well, you know about Pidlick II. He was definitely my largest attraction, but I have been having these different dolls that I like to call Blinsky dolls. And he kind of gestures at the table, and you see an assortment of dolls.
I seen just a bunch of Strahd puppets.
They are not a whole bunch of Strahd puppets, but they are not something that you would typically see at a toy store in Waterdeep.
Since we're talking about reincarnated souls and things, is it possible that Pidalic II somehow has one of the available souls?
Maybe.
If Onyx, maybe Pidlick's also Warforged.
I would like to try to sort of talk him up and sort of talk shop enough with him to see if I can get him to drop any sort of hints about how Pidlick might have something special, some sort of sapience or something to him.
Okay, yeah. Let me pull up the thing for Pidlick.
I'm just asking him all sorts of questions about joints and different sorts of attachments and designs for mobility and stuff like that.
So Pidlick II, he is designed based on a clockwork heart. He is something that cranks, and that series of gears holds the energy to be able to move him around. I don't entirely understand it, I don't entirely understand what gives him the intelligence per se.
Where did you get the clockwork that made up his core? Or did you craft it all yourself?
I did. I am very proud of it. As I said, it is something that's very unique, and one of the reasons I was interested to meet your friend. He puts mine to shame. If I recall correctly, Onyx, you were not with the group when they had originally went to Blinsky's Toys. Is that
Were
correct?
you somewhere else?
Correct, because I was at the bookstore at that time.
Yeah. He's like, am I able to meet that creation? I
Well,
think that it is a very, very, very advanced version of what I've been attempting to do with Pidlick.
well, his name is Onyx, and yes,
Onyx.
we met him. And if he wishes to meet with you, then I'm sure he could. I'll ask him. In fact, if is Onyx anywhere within like 120 feet of me?
Probably.
I
Yeah, I would
will
say so.
point my finger at him and put my hand up to my ear and my mouth and point at him and cast message and say, Onyx, Mr. Blinksy over here would very much like to meet you. I'm sure you know why.
Who's Mr. Blinksy?
Oh, he's the one who crafted your little friend there. Built him from scratch. Thinks you might know something about how you were made.
I look at my hammer. He crafted this?
No. The one on your back.
Oh, okay.
Takes off his back.
Toy.
He's a leather worker?
He's a leather worker.
So,
I'd probably
yes,
go
so
over.
it is a clockwork. Now, I created it, but it was not my design originally. I copied the design of the first Pidwick.
You did? Where did you
Yes.
find said design?
Oh, well, I had a Pidwick, the first.
You just had one?
Did you
Well,
buy him?
I found him. I don't really know. He just kind of appeared in my shop one day, and I was
Oh.
That's just a normal thing that happens?
not at all. It was the thing that changed my life, because I saw that my toys could be more than just objects. They might be able to be sentient.
What happened to the Pidlick then?
He vanished again. Not before. Well, I suspect that he was stolen or destroyed. But I was able to replicate him and create Pidlick the Second. I will be honest, I call him Pidlick the Second, but the personality is very similar to the first.
Herbert is thinking to himself, maybe he's like some cursed, haunted spirit that just haunted that store or something like that, and now it found a body somehow.
Yeah,
It's like
because,
now it's just haunting him.
his toys just randomly, magically show up that are more advanced than anything you've ever seen. Yes, that's just something that typically happens.
I mean, you just walk into people's lives, right?
Oh, touche.
Were you saying that to him?
Yes.
He's like, it is an honor to meet you. Herbert says your name is Onyx?
Yes.
I do not mean to be rude, but were you created?
I look down at myself, looking at absolutely no skin,
Or were you born?
and I look up at him and, yes, I have a creator.
I suppose I have a creator too.
Is he from Barovia?
No.
Hmm.
He is from a land far away.
I very much would like to meet him.
No, you don't.
Oh,
He's a
Well-
pretty bad dude, from what I've heard.
I am curious of your design. If you are ever willing, I would be interested in being able to learn more about it, so I may be able to create better constructions of my own. Pidwick the Second, as I was telling Herbert here, I directly copied from another one. After I'd finished creating Pidlick the second, the other one disappeared. And now I was left with that one, but I have the designs and everything. But I'm not sure if I want to continue with that. The resources were quite extensive to gather.
So you started creating a second one before the first one disappeared?
Yes. I had completed the second one, but it wasn't really. It didn't move. I thought I had done it wrong. I went to bed. First one was gone. Second one was here. Well,
And was
and he
there
he points at his forehead. He's like, I mean here.
hmm. So, I mean, was there perhaps any mechanical advantages or upgrades that you created in two rather than one, or was it an exact copy?
I tried to do it as exact as possible, all the way down to the materials. And I will tell you, it was not easy.
I don't imagine it was. I would hope that someday I will have something.
No, I'm certain you will. I noticed that you now have some. Is that wire that you have on your gloves?
Yes, I took a bunch of coins, melted them down, and stretched them out into this wire. It's quite
Interesting.
useful as a conductive a material.
That is quite interesting. Um, for what purpose?
Oh, well, I can use it to send signals to my friends, as you saw me do earlier. And I can also channel vast amounts of energy in the form of electricity.
Well, that's something. Um,
It's
electricity like lightning.
like lightning, yes.
Oh,
I mean, I hope someday I'll make a
perhaps we can share some wine and talk over some of our designs. I think that we would be able to both benefit from each other's experience.
yes, I think so. Perhaps we
But
should.
I must get to my other customers.
Oh yes.
Onyx, it was great to meet you. I hope that Arabelle enjoys Pidlithic second. Um,
Mr. Blanky, if I might ask a question.
yes, Belinsky.
Valencia.
Blanky.
Okay. How do you know that this isn't the first Pidlick?
Because I made the second Pidlick.
But you had made the second one while the first one was there, and then one of them disappeared, but you made it an exact copy. So how do you know this isn't the first and the second one disappeared?
I mean, I tried to make it as exact as I could, but I guess I recognized my own workmanship.
Okay. That's all.
But no, well, just remember, it's no fun. It's no Blinsky. And he was like, and if you would like a Blinsky doll, please feel free to purchase. And I will share an image from the book of what style these Blinsky dolls are in. That is going to our handouts.
Gonna give us nightmares.
There
Oh,
we
all right.
go.
Yes, it's
Yep.
gonna give us nightmares.
Oh boy.
I mean, not as much as Pidlick, but
I'm
So,
a supporter of the arts, so I'll buy one.
okay, they're a single copper. They're not very expensive at all.
oh, that's cheap.
Yeah. I didn't expect they would be considering this other stuff. But yeah, I'll definitely
Yeah.
buy one.
Thank you, my friend.
Oh, you're welcome.
I would like to, as we walk back, give a gold to Pidlick.
Yeah.
And I would like to ask him, so Pidlick, do you remember the first Pidlick? Do you know what happened to it?
Let's see. pulling up my list of riddles here. Because I'm not that smart that I'm able to just instantly pull them up.
There.
Ah, the band's passing by. Hang on.
He kind of looks at you and he's like, "Gone, the predecessor vanished without a trace, leaving behind enigmatic space. In echoes of absence, questions arise, but the legacy remains, shrouded in disguise."
Are you the spirit of the first one?
Um,
This is taking longer. This is not good.
It's complicated.
it is. Okay. So he says, in realms of knowledge, beware the overload. For too much information may erode. Seek deeper, venture through the unknown, where answers lie, waiting to be shown.
Kid like that didn't answer me very well.
Or it's like, fuck you, fuck your questions.
When you say it didn't answer it very well, he's just like, I know.
I know.
All right, keep your secrets. And we get
I
back
don't know
to
if you guys remember, but I did write down what Pidlock's goal is, like a while ago.
Oh boy. Why would a doll have goals? That's not fair.
Wait. Did you share this with us?
No.
No, I didn't. I wrote it down so that down the road I could tell you
Oh.
guys what it was.
He knows, but we don't.
I know, but you guys don't know.
Gotcha.
Because he is the all-powerful voice from the sky.
I'm like,
Yeah,
wait, I did not write that down.
I have it written on this card so that eventually I can just be like, hey, he followed the rule.
All right, so chat, somebody get a screenshot of that right there.
I'd be surprised. It might be
Do a good old
quality, but
Do a good old Star Trek enhanced image.
it's NCIS.
Not on
Thank you.
YouTube.
All right, when I
Zoom
go,
in
when I
on
go
up
to
there.
edit this video.
That being said,
Uh,
when you guys leave Blinsky at his table, we are going to take a brief bio break, and we will be right back.
Good plan.
Right on.
Good plan.
We're back.
Okay. Hello and welcome back. We are joining our clerics at the Festival of the Blazing Sun. They have just finished speaking with Blinsky, and they are searching around, talking to different people from around the town that they've met, store owners, things like that. They do see Irina spending some time also talking to some of the store owners. She's talking to an older couple who she introduces as the Arasex, the people who own the stockyard on the other side of town. They inform you that it's a general store, but they don't bring anything to the festival because they don't really have the fun type of wares, and people just come to them for what they need for their general needs throughout the day. So, that being said, you are all watching as the crowd begins to quiet down. You can see based on the time of day, you know that this is kind of the climax of the festival. Graves, you've been looking around, keeping an eye out for Fiona Voctor. You don't know much about her other than her name of Lady Fiona Voctor.
Yep. I do know her, like, maid person, what she looks like. She answered the door.
And you are looking around and you're not really seeing anyone, and all of a sudden you see the crowd somewhat disperse, and you do see a woman standing over here on her own. She's much taller than most people around her, and you would guess she's close to around 6 foot. So quite tall for a woman. She's standing there. She's an elegant and regal woman. and seems to hold a commanding presence, and people are not bothering her. She is tall and slender, draped in rich, dark attire that complements her pale complexion and raven black hair, which is meticulously styled and adorned with a few intricate accessories. Her piercing eyes, a striking shade of green, reflect both intelligence and a hint of ambition. She is looking around the crowd, and her eyes meet yours as you look at her. And she nods her head as if beckoning you to join her.
Oh boy. I guess Grace would probably make his way over.
Does
He
anyone join him?
Not if he didn't mention it.
I mean, if he gives me a look like he wants me to join him, I would. But if I see him just walking off to talk to this woman, I think I'm not great with words and conversation and stuff. But so
I don't think he'd specifically want to come with him. He wouldn't tell anyone not to.
Mm-hmm.
He also would have made sure that he is definitely prominently wearing his Brasman amulet and moose chainmail. I will also, as I'm walking over, cast Enhance Ability Splendor.
Enhance ability what?
Eagle Splendor.
Okay, that improves your persuasion?
charisma.
Yeah, it gives me advantage on
Charisma.
charisma checks.
Okay.
So just intimidate, persuasion, performance. Grave is quite the musician, don't you know?
Okay, I'm pulling up the thing. Let's see. I don't believe I have a token for her, so I apologize. I thought that Curse of
Generic
Strahd
woman.
would have one.
Fancy lady.
Let me
Yes,
see.
fancy lady.
Dark mommy.
That is... I'm just taking a
Dark
glance
Mamu?
through really quick, seeing if there is one.
Dormammu?
Dormammu, I've come to bargain.
Lilith?
Speaking of bargain, in the arts, in the NPC portraits, anyone notice that the Burgermeister is wearing an amulet with Asmodeus' holy symbol on it? Unholy symbol?
Uh,
I think he wasn't when we met him.
I don't
It's
think
probably
he-
just the art that whoever used.
Yeah.
Probably just
Well,
flavor.
Doesn't look like
Okay.
anything to me.
Yeah, I don't know what that is. It's a star. Stars are normal.
Okay,
Yeah.
so I'm going to throw
That's
in
pretty.
a generic noblewoman
Hmm.
here.
I'm seeing that Strahd puppet.
And I will also be sharing a character art of her as well.
Ooh.
It's
She
Irina.
sees you and she's like, "Are you enjoying the festivities, Graves?"
Quite an interesting experience. Miss Avocta, I am not from a place as large as Valaki.
She raises her eyebrows and she's like, "Capable and intelligent. What brings you to Valaki?"
My companions and I arrived in the valley recently, and Valaki seems like a place of more safety and opportunity than that of the town of Barovia. More
Yes,
lively.
I recognized your symbol, and that's how I knew your name. The luminescent coil unveils the bridge between realms, Madam Eva has said.
Yes. From
But
what I hear, there was another
I-
cleric of Rasma some time ago.
yes, I had met him when he was here. But I was under the impression you were Barovian. But based on your speech. That is not the case.
What made you believe I was Barovian?
Your visage.
Ah,
Your jawline is that of the noble blood of the burgomaster of Barovia.
of the burgomaster of Barovia.
Yes, the Kolyanovich line. He was always known for his look. I met him once when I was a young girl.
Hmm.
Him and Ismark the Lesser.
I have met Ismark, but unfortunately I was not able to meet the burgomaster himself.
Yes, it was sad to hear that he had passed away. If only such fortune would come to us here in Vallaki.
I have heard that you and the Baron don't always see eye to eye.
I think that would be an understatement. Believe it or not, his father was worse.
Oh.
Yes,
Interesting.
Vargan Valakovich. You know that when he was the ruler, he seemed to treat it like a police state. He was dour, cruel man. There were full town curfews from dusk till dawn. No one allowed outside of their homes after the sun was down. Public torture was commonplace for any criminal activity. And even children who showed signs of ill temper were taken to one of his training camps in order to be trained for the town guard. But Vargan died, and now we've been replaced with
That guy.
with the Baron
Yes, now we must.
Vargas.
Yes, now instead of curfews, we must come to this square and put a smile on our faces.
All will be well, as he so rightly says. Am I to understand correctly that you are not a fan?
I like to keep an open mind on many individuals.
Yes. I'm glad to hear that. If it comes that we are united in our goals, I'd very much like to speak to you and your companions. Keep an eye out at the festival. You may be more aligned with me than you think. And I think you have yet to see the cruelty that the citizens of Vallaki must deal with.
Well, I may be interested in speaking with you then. I have not made up my mind on many things, but you seem to know things that intrigue me, especially since I've been interested in learning about. He'll kind of just like haphazardly kind of like brushes chainmail, making it look like he's just cleaning himself up. This cleric of Pharasma here before you said you've met him. I'd be interested to know what you know of him.
Roll me an insight check.
Ooh, insight. What is my insight? I don't have advantage because it's wisdom, but I got a +5, so. That's a 19.
There we go, and I am doing a quick roll. Okay.
I like the sound of that.
So she says, yes, I met him briefly, but did not get to know him. He left soon after I met him. She says this, and you don't believe her for a second. You think that she's a very skilled liar, but you think she knows more about this gentleman than she's saying.
I may have caught her off guard with seeming to imply that she knew more. Didn't expect me to know that. Ah, yes. So I've heard that no one quite knows what happened to him. So perhaps that should be one of the topics discussed in the coming days.
Yes. Oh, we will have to wait. Perhaps we can meet for an evening meal or a morning meal, depending on how long this charade has to go. And
That
she's
sounds
like,
fine.
Piers Vargas is attempting to show his main event. Under the threatening skies above Valaki, a parade of unhappy children dressed as flowers trudge through the muddy streets. Their costumes are very poorly made. Leading the way for a group of sorry-looking men and women carrying a 10-foot diameter wicker ball. You recognize this wicker from the sticks and bundles that you saw within the burgomaster's mansion. The burgomaster and his smiling wife, who holds a sad bouquet of wilting flowers, follow the procession on horseback as weary spectators watch from their stoops. The ball is borne to the town square. There, it's hoisted and hung from a 15-foot high wooden gallows in the center of the town. The townsfolk take turns splashing it with oil. Before the wicker sun can be set ablaze, the sky tears open in a sudden downpour. "All will be well," cries the Baron, as he brandishes a sputtering torch and marches defiantly through the rain towards the wicker ball, only to have his torch go out as he thrusts it into the sphere. A singular laugh erupts from the crowd, drawing the burgomaster's fiery gaze as well as gasp from the townsfolk. Before you're able to react, the burgomaster waves his hand in the air and points towards towards a guard. This is the unlucky guard here.
Uh-huh.
The other guards are aghast at this ill-timed outburst, and the burgomaster immediately yells for Isaac to join his side. Isaac runs forward, kind of pushing through the crowd as he's going. The rain downpouring, making it difficult to even see what exactly is going on. The burgomaster says something to Isaac that is inaudible, and Isaac calls for the guards. The surrounding guards swarm on this one, arresting him, and begin binding him by his ankles and wrist. Do any of you do anything to see this? As they continue, go ahead.
I said nope.
Okay.
And are any townsfolk, I'm assuming they're just quiet and watching.
Exactly. They're kind of aghast that the person had laughed out loud.
I guess
quiet.
Gray's to do one quick thing is he's next to Lady of Voctor still. He'll just kind of whisper to her, "Ah, yes. You did indeed say."
Oh, just wait for it. And after the gentleman has been bound by the ankles and wrist, Baron Valakovich, who climbs onto the back of his horse, raising his voice for all to hear, and he's like, "Laws seems to think it's amusing that the blazing sun is being doused in water, so we must find other forms of amusement." And as he's saying this, you see Isaac tying a rope to the man's ankles and tying it to the back of the saddle of the horse.
Ooh, that's what I thought he was gonna do. That's not good.
The muddy ground is squelching as the horse rears up as Baron Velakovich kicks its side. The man is screaming his pain as he's dragged across the ground. Some of the inhabitants kind of give a short laugh, but majority of them are staring forward in horror as the burgomaster rides around the town square, dragging this man across the cobblestone. All of this seems to put a pretty dour sense into this festival. No one's laughing, there's no more cheering as they're going around. But you do hear in the distance 2 screams, and you see 2 men running from the other side of the stairs here. They run up and are stumbling around, obviously drunk. Graves, you see Fiona kind of strike her hand against her face as if she's annoyed or shamed. You're not entirely sure, but she obviously recognizes these men. They are screaming, yelling, "A tiger's escaped! A tiger has escaped!" And that's where we'll end tonight's session.
That's what that Syrinscape sound was before you joined the Discord.
Ooh.
And we will continue next session with the tiger escaping into town, as well as the guard Lars Quadrilles being dragged around during the festival of the blazing sun.
Yeah. It took a turn.
It
But
did,
I
but
suppose-
shorter session tonight, but
Yeah.
we didn't have quite enough time to be able to go through the whole next session as we're going.
Yeah.